Hey everyone, my name's Amanda and I'm the Fun Size Reader, and I'm sorry, but y'all had me at vampires fantasy romance. Like, of course I had to buy this book and I had to read it, and I've been trying to read it as fast as possible to get this out to everybody because there's a lot of vampire loving people on my channel. This is King of Battle and Blood. It is by Scarlett St. Clair. Scarlett St. Clair has a lot of other books that she's written. I actually haven't read any. This is the first one. But I know she's really popular like in the TikTok, book talk sphere. Her other book that I've seen all over the place is A Touch of Darkness. I think it's a Hades and Persephone retelling. I haven't read it, so now that I read this one, I might have to read some of her other ones. But let's talk about vampires. This book, I got it the day it came out. First off, I'm gonna say I love when books are small sized. Like, it's smaller than a normal hardcover book. It's smaller, like YA books are usually a lot smaller, and this is smaller than the typical YA book size. And I said this to my husband. I was like, it makes me feel like I'm Belle in London and I'm holding this book and I'm walking through the streets of my town, or not London, Paris. She's in Paris. Sorry. Bad Disney fan there. And I'm walking through the streets of my town and I just have this tiny book that just fits in the crook of my arm. I freaking love it. Anyways, content of the book. So this book is about a vampire. No, it's about this girl who has to wed a vampire who is basically the king of her entire land. He's kind of conquering all these different state-like kingdoms. And she has to marry him because her father is surrendering, and their kind of hidden goal is that she's going to try to kill him. But they can't keep their hands off of each other. This is full of a lot of different steamy scenes, okay? This is an adult fantasy book. This is not a YA fantasy, despite the size of the book. So adult fantasy, brand new, vampires, like, short review. Okay, for those of you who are thinking, hey, should I pick this up? If you like adult fantasy, if you like vampires, if you like world building, if you like magic, I think it's a good read for you, okay? There's not a lot I can really talk about in the book or in this review without kind of ruining it. It's one of those books where you just have to have somebody tell you it's really good, go read it, or it's not good, don't read it. I would say it's good, go read it. Like, I have things that I want to talk about, and I have things that are gonna spoil that I just have to get out to somebody, because that's the only way I feel like I can give a good review of the book. And it's going to be to other people who have read it, because otherwise it will spoil things. Because my opinions are rooted in things that are spoiled. So if you want to read a book about vampires, smutty scenes, pick this one up. Now for the spoilery section. Okay, so at first I was a little bit turned off by this book because I started reading it and it's building a whole new world, and that was all fine and dandy. I felt like there was not enough slow burn of the romance and of like the smutty scenes. Like, we didn't have to wait very long for them. And I personally like to wait at least a little bit. Like, it was less than 100 pages. And I just was like, really? Like, you didn't make me wait for it? But I will say, by the time that I finished the book, I understood why. Obviously, the big plot twist is that she's like reincarnated, and they were in love before when he was 200 years ago. And that's why they kind of just were like so physically drawn together, and so much emotion and feelings that she couldn't explain. Like, it all ended up making sense, but I was mad about it in the beginning because I hadn't gotten to the part where it actually made sense yet. So that was like my biggest complaint, was that it just went way too far into it. But that complaint was kind of fixed by the end of the book because obviously they were reincarnated. I did totally call her being one of the witches. I didn't know which one it was going to be. But the fact that she was like having these flashbacks, it seemed like a different life. Every time she kind of touched these magical objects, she kind of got these flashbacks. I didn't call that it was going to be Yesenia. I did call that part of the story. I was like, there's some reincarnation connection here. It wasn't really super clear to me how that happened. I know Adrian talks about that he like made a deal with the goddess, like was begging for her because he was so distraught when she was killed. So like, I think it was kind of like the goddess thing, but why it took 200 years, I don't know. Was she reincarnated other times and he had to like try to find her in her lifetimes? Like there was some part of the world building and the magic that just wasn't super clear to me. I do think that this book was a definite book one in that it kind of got you addicted to the story, got you involved in the characters, set everything up for you, but it did take a little while to get there. So there was a lot of action and a lot of things that happened in the end. And I liked that because it made me really want to read the second book. But like wanting to know who the traitor is at the end. Like we know that somebody now told someone that she is his weakness. It wasn't, you know, her father that she shared that story with. Side note, I did not expect her to be the one to kill her father. I thought Adrian was going to do it, and he kind of said that he should have been the one to do it, but I did not think it was going to be her. I didn't call that part, but I also really don't like Killian. If you like Killian, like, please tell me why you like Killian, because I don't like him. I hope I don't see him that much in the next book, because I'm not a fan. Unless something like super mind-blowing happens, I don't like him. But yeah, I want to know who the traitor is. I want to know who of his little inner circle knows now that she's his weakness, and knows kind of who she is. I did think that it took a while to kind of build the story up and get you to the ending chaos and the ending plot. And that kind of went a little quickly for me. So I think that I know on Goodreads there's 2 more that are slotted. So there's going to be a lot of story, which I am really excited about. I'm kind of sad that I'm going to have to wait so long because I read this right when it came out, but it is what it is. It took a little while for the plot to kind of get going. I will also say I was trying to figure out why I didn't like feel as much deep emotion as I do for like other characters. So there are some books like in my Shadow in the Ember video, I talked about like how I love Nyktos. Like I love Nyktos. I like Adrian. I do. I really like him. And I like Isolde. Like I like them as characters, but for some reason I just didn't get that like emotional response that I normally get when I read fantasy romance books, especially with like love lost and things like that's a really big trigger of emotions for me. And so the fact that Adrian had been like searching for her and we find out that it's Yesenia who he had been in love with and he begged for her life and he begged to have her back. Like I get all of those things, but I just didn't feel it as much as I wanted to. And I am like I can't read certain books because I feel them so hard. Like I love the Outlander series, but I feel them so freaking hard that I have trouble picking up the next one in the series. I've been stuck on book 5 for like over 2 years because I just can't pick it up to read it because I just feel it too hard. This one I didn't feel as hard. Like I felt it, but I wasn't emotionally crushed like I was expecting to be, especially because it's like the vampires and, you know, all of that where the emotions are very, very deep on a very like personal bloodletting level. Yeah, I wish I felt that more. And I don't know why I didn't. I don't know if I'm the only one who didn't feel that. Maybe it was just the mood I was in, but I was excited to read this book, so I don't know why. So I'm trying to figure out like what's going to happen in the next part of the series, in the next book. I know that there's, you know, her kingdom that her mother's from, the kingdom that her mother's from, all of those people have been held captive essentially by their king, and Adrian knew about it. And, you know, so I think there's going to be a lot more storyline there. We're going to figure out more about the traitor. We know that Ravina's not dead, but I know Isolde threw like a sword through her mirror portal and it struck her. There was blood, but we know she's not dead. Isolde knows she's not dead. So there's got to be more going on with her and the red mist that's plaguing everybody. So there's a lot that's really set up. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't. I don't know if, like, we were kind of hinted at the end that her spell book that she had from 200 years ago has spells to like bring people back from the dead. So I don't know, maybe she's trying to bring back the old king that ended up killing all of the witches, and there's going to be this like huge battle. I have no idea. If you have predictions, put them in the comments below, but like label them spoiler alert. I know this video is going to have spoiler alert all over it, but label them spoiler alert so people don't get things ruined for them if they read the comments. It was good. I liked it. I wish I felt more emotion, but overall I really liked it. And I'm so happy that vampires are back in literature. I am so happy. They make me feel good. So if you'd like to support my channel, I will put my affiliate link to buy the book down in the description below. In the meantime, if you want to talk more about the book or anything else, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at The Fun Size Reader. See you guys next time.